All right, boys and girls, today for Writer's Workshop, it's an exciting day because you are going to get to pick one letter that we will figure out a way to really mail. So either your parents can help you mail it or they can email it to me and I will mail it for you. So we'll talk about that at the end. But what you have to do is you have to go through, you've written tons of things now. You're becoming really good opinion writers and super at convincing people to help you out. So you have to go through and think about what is like really, really super duper important to me. What's the most important problem to me? So you'll go through your work, masks, laws for the earth, walking in the hallway, kids not sharing toys. I think the one that I'm going to pick, well, I'm going to send one to the governor about making laws to protect the earth because that's very important to me. That one's over there. I'm not going to go get that right now. I have this one here instead. This one I want to mail too. This one's going to be to Miss Harris, and it's about not having enough donkeys for all the kindergartners to play with at recess. So I'll show you that letter in just a second. But while we're looking at my letter together, today will be really important to remember all of the things we've learned. We see a problem, we think about it, we write about it, we show we care a lot, just like the Lorax here. Those one things to keep in mind. Whoop. Here's how to be really convincing. Number one, tell your opinion. I think. Number two, give lots of reasons. Don't just give one. The more reasons, the more convincing. Like 1, 2, 3. Number three, give a fix-it idea. This is kind of important because sometimes it's tough to just tell somebody a problem without any way to fix it. It makes it easier to fix the problem if you give an idea of how to do it. Be polite. Number 4, say please and thank you. And number 5, you could make your words stand out by writing in capitals or underlining. Okay, so let's look at mine. I also want to keep an eye out for things that are not easy to read because my problem won't get solved if they can't even read my paper, of course. Dear Miss Harris, kids are not sharing the donkeys at recess. We should get more, please. It will make kids happy. That's a reason. And kids won't fight. That's another reason. Thank you, Miss Werner. Super important to say who it's from, and I decided to say thank you to be polite. I also added the word please. So I definitely see some things that are not that easy to read. So we'll talk about that. But here's our last chart. So you reread your writing. When we are done, we've just begun, we can reread. I could add more drawings and labels. I didn't do any drawings on this. So maybe I want to add a little drawing of a kid riding a donkey with a smiley face. Fix up what is not easy to read. That's going to be something I definitely can do because look, I see a lot of cross outs and I want it to be as professional as I can. Tell more reasons, given or else. Ooh, add a speech bubble. Maybe the kid riding the donkey could be saying something. Okay, so let's look at this again. What parts do you think are not easy to read? Well, this is like a little bit tricky, and I mixed up an A there. This part, yeah, that's not that easy to read. So it seems like it's like kind of like up at the top. So I have to think, how do I want to fix this? It's a little bit different than when we're together in room 5 because I'm not sure what you have at home to fix it. So one thing you could do is you could put a new piece of paper side by side and really carefully on this new sheet, write what you have on here, but write it super neatly so that you don't have any crossouts, or maybe you just have like one crossout. If you have a scissors at home and tape, you could try to measure. Like, okay, I think I just need a little bit of paper, and you could cut that and use some tape to put it over just that part of your letter. It's kind of like using a flap like we did in room 5. This one's a little too big. Yeah, actually, there we go. That'll fit. So that's another choice. You could tape it, but make sure you only tape it like up here so that you can go back and remember what you wrote. So you could say, okay, I wrote, kids are not, all right? Kids are not. That way you can go back and forth. And then when you have it all rewritten, you could tape this side down too. I've heard that some of you have something called whiteout at home. Whiteout is like a little bottle that has white paint in it for writers, and you could use that to cover up a word that you mixed up, and then once it's dry, you can write on top of it. Or some of you might have those little white stickers at home. I don't have any here. They're not something I keep around. But if you want to ask your parents, they're called mailing labels. If you have those, you're really in luck because they're just like what we use in room 5. They're white stickers that you can just peel and put over any mistakes. So that's what your job is today. And if there's a new problem that you thought of, and that's what you want to write about, that's the most important thing to you today, then you can also start a brand new letter. Just try to make sure that you make it really easy to read so that it's all set to send. Okay, so today we're fixing things up and we're picking a really important problem to us. Don't forget to sign your name and figure out who are you writing to. That goes at the top. So then, boys and girls, when you have finished that letter, there's 2 things we'll do. First, if you're super duper proud of it and you want me to show it to the other kids in room 5, have your parents email it to me and I'll print it at my house, and then I can hold it up and say, this is what so-and-so wrote. So sometimes we do that in class where I bring them to the front and I show what you've done. This is a way that we can still do that over the computer. And then number 2, the letter that you want to mail, you can say to your parents, do we have an envelope? Do we have stamps? Can you mail this? Or if you don't, tell your parents to email it to me and I will print it here. I have stamps and envelopes, so I'll fold it up and I'll put it in an envelope and I'll send it to whichever person you want it to get to, okay? I'll find their address. And I'll also email your parents that so that they know the scoop on how you can get your important letters sent out so you can convince people to help with your problem. All right, thanks a lot, boys and girls. 15 minutes, set your timer.